Whether you're in a relationship or you're dealing with friends and family, distrust and lies are the biggest killer of a relationship. Often we're forced to give others the benefit of the doubt, but how would your interactions change if you could tell when someone was lying? Today we're going through proven methods used by both in the FBI and law enforcement to find out if the person you're talking to is telling the truth. Welcome to Mind Talk, where all brains matter. If you're new to the channel, you're going to want to head on over and hit that subscribe button. If you're ready to have your mind blown, ring that notification bell as well, so you'll never miss another video. In this episode of Mind Talk, we'll be checking out 10 signs you can't trust someone. For years, scientists have been breaking down the psychology of lying. They've discovered that the majority of people, especially inexperienced liars, make a few crucial errors in their fictitious ramblings. The more preparation someone has time to put into a lie, the more success they will achieve from it. But with these handy tips, you'll soon be an expert at sniffing out a rat. Are you ready? Let's dive right in. Number 1. They change the tone of their voice. Lying to someone, especially if you're not a narcissistic pro, is nerve-wracking. Will they believe you or won't they? When someone is telling a lie, they will generally have an increased heart rate and their blood will begin to flow differently, causing them to breathe heavier. Their heavy breathing is generally caused by a few changes to happen with their voice. This will cause the person to tighten up their vocal cords and speak in a higher pitched voice. You also may notice that the person is trying to catch their breath due to the restricted blood flow. Of course, being confronted in any scenario can be nerve-wracking, so if someone seems nervous, it doesn't always mean they're lying. Picture pulling a random person off the street and taking them into an interrogation room. If you haven't done anything, you're still going to be nervous. Assess your environment and the situation. Is the person far outside their comfort zone? If not, then that's a pretty good way of telling if they're lying. Number 2. They try to be as still as possible. Most people associate fidgeting with lying. However, the opposite can also be said. Dr. Lillian Glass, the author of The Body Language of Liars, has said previously that while people often do fidget while lying, people can also be very still. If you think of primitive instincts, such as the fight or flight instinct, someone who is wired to fight will stand their ground. Moving, swaying, and making hand gestures is a normal part of human interaction. However, someone who is on the polar end of the spectrum is a telltale sign that someone is lying. Remember, too much movement or too little is a great way to expose the dastardly liar. Number 3. Hand gestures. Hands tell a story that often the mouth doesn't. There are quite a few hand gestures that are a little suspicious when someone is telling a story, so let's go through them. Covering the mouth. Scientists believe that your hands are subconsciously trying to suppress deceit by doing this. Biting their nails. Nail biting is one of the clear signs of anxiety, or that a situation is making someone uncomfortable. If someone's biting their nails, it's a pretty strong sign that something is not right about the situation. Placing their hands over their face to think. Generally when we think, there is quite an obvious look on our face. Often the brain will subconsciously cause a liar to put their hands on their face to cover up their thinking face. Scratching. Lies can often cause people to have tingling or scratches that are linked with anxious behaviour. A person may start to scratch to curb off the itching that comes from their little fibs. Number 4. They look to the left or maintain dead eye contact. Depending on the type of person you're dealing with, it could be one or both of these tactics. Normally when lying, people break eye contact. During the moment someone is lying, you'll often see their eyes dart to the left. This is because they are trying to remember something. However, if the scenario they're describing never took place, they'll continue darting left to think of the next move. On the other hand, if you're dealing with a narcissist, they'll often maintain dead eye contact to maintain control of the conversation. A narcissist will be very good at lying already. And let's be real, most people know that if you look to the left during a conversation, you're probably lying. They're well aware of this and have practiced it to a T. Number 5. Changes in language and overthinking. Liars have their own language. They're well versed in it and are careful to not incriminate themselves in what they say. This can often lead to pauses or gaps in the conversation that may be unnatural. Here are some examples. A person may stop to think before they answer. When you spin a web of lies, remembering what you've spun and not contradicting yourself is vital. They may give you short answers. If you don't say too much, you can't be caught out on too much, right? They may elaborate far too much on something that doesn't need to be elaborated on. For example, in an answer to the question, "Did you tell your friends I was annoying?" instead of saying, "No, I didn't," they may have a long-winded response such as, "No, why would I say that? I love you, you could never be annoying." When trying to create a coherent lie, sometimes it gets tangled. If what they're saying doesn't add up and they're constantly stuttering, chances are it's a lie. Number 6. Avoiding important questions. If someone tries to lead you away from a question you just asked, chances are it's a very important part of debunking their lie. For example, if you asked your boyfriend if he was cheating and he denied it, but then you follow that question up by, "My sister saw you down at the mall with another girl," a liar would likely respond with something to throw you off the scent, such as, "Your sister has always hated me, she's crazy." Redirection, misdirection, and blaming others is a classic telltale sign someone isn't being honest. Number 7. They shuffle their feet. Dr. Lillian Glass has said that sometimes the body just takes over. When a person is uncomfortable or anxious, their body will do things that they aren't aware of. A person who is lying will usually not be able to keep still. Take careful notice of their feet and what they're doing. Are their legs restless? Are they tapping their foot? Are they grounding themselves on their toes? The legs tell a great story, so if you get a chance to look under the table, do it. Just don't make it weird. Number 8. Repeating a question before answering it. Some have a quick enough brain that they don't need to do this to lie, but for an inexperienced liar, people will often repeat a question in an attempt to gain a few seconds to think of a follow-up lie. "Were you at the casino spending all of our money?" "Was I at the casino spending all of our money?" "No, of course I wasn't at the casino spending all of our money. I was there with my friend and he asked to borrow some money, which was why it's missing. But he said he's going to pay it back really soon." Context is important, but so is sarcasm. So keep in mind that this isn't a 100% indication of dishonesty. Sometimes a question is just that stupid it has to be repeated back, with a tilted head and confused look. Number 9. Adding excessive detail. Too little detail and excessive detail can both lead to the same point. If someone starts revealing details that seem suspect or far too precise, it's likely that they're lying. If a police officer was questioning someone about a murder and asked of their whereabouts at that time, a liar may be far too specific about their movements. An innocent person may think as they genuinely don't remember or say something like, "I don't know," or "I was at work till 5, then I got home around 6. A liar would be far too specific and say something along the lines of, "I was at work until 5 PM, then I walked to my car, which took about 10 minutes, then I drove home and the traffic was really bad, and I had to stop to get some gas, then I got home at 6:03 PM, and the murder occurred at 6:05, so it couldn't have been me as I live 15 minutes away from the crime scene." Specifics are not entirely an indication of lying. Saying you were somewhere at a specific time doesn't mean you're lying, but adding excessive detail like who you were with, what you were doing when not prompted for that information is an indication that what's being said may not be entirely factual. And number 10, track record. This is our most important one and will only work if you know the person very well. The number one way to tell if someone is lying is if they constantly lie. Have you caught your boyfriend cheating before? Have you caught your sister stealing money? Or have you caught a classmate copying your work? If the person you were confronting has a history of doing these things that you're accusing them of, it's a big sign that the person may be lying. With that being said, just because someone has done something in their past doesn't mean they'll do it again. Just because your girlfriend cheated on you last year doesn't mean she's doing it again. But knowing someone has the tendency and the ability to do something is a strong sign that they may be lying. Use your discretion and get those answers. Well, that's all we have today for our top 10 signs that you can't trust someone. Who knew the brain was subconsciously telling people you were lying this whole time? If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and let us know in the comments which tactics you'll be using to sniff out dishonesty. Before you leave, make sure to subscribe and click that notification bell to check out our other amazing videos. You have been watching Mind Talk, where all brains matter. See you next time.